Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Invest Africa. I'm Godfrey Motizwa. Now, Zambia has been in the news for all the right reasons lately. The country has seen growth of over 7% and attracted foreign direct investment of $5.4 billion in 2011, with the country looking to exceed last year's target. This week, we take a look at the business and investment opportunities and challenges in the landlocked country of Zambia.
Covering a total surface area of just over 750,000 square kilometers, the landlocked country is home to roughly 14 million people. Like most African countries, agriculture is a significant contributor to the economy and accounts for 21% of GDP. Top revenue generators include copper and cobalt, electricity and tobacco, to which it exports to China, Switzerland and South Africa. Import partners include the DRC, South Africa and China, from which machinery, transport equipment and petroleum are sourced. Zambia's economy has experienced strong growth in recent years, with real GDP growth from 2005 to 2011 averaging more than 6% per year. However, Zambia's economic growth slowed to 6.6% in 2011 from 7.6% in 2010, mainly as a result of weaker mining sector performance. But the medium-term economic outlook appears favorable, with the economy projected to grow 6.9% in 2012 and 7.3% in 2013. This growth will be underpinned by sustained expansion in agriculture, construction, manufacturing, transport and communications, and by a rebound in the mining sector. Priority for Zambia is increasing domestic revenue collection due to infrastructure projects that will require additional resources. The government is aiming to fill the $750 million funding gap by means of a bond issue, and this infrastructure investment is expected to boost growth by up to 2 percentage points per annum. Zambia's dependency on copper makes it vulnerable to depressed commodity prices, and the struggling global economic recovery could diminish export demand. The government's decision to retract the privatization of Zambia's telecoms company has put the spotlight on the company's ability to maintain investor confidence, and if not addressed, could threaten the country's growth prospects.
Joining me now in studio to take a closer look at Zambia as a business and investment destination is Jason Kalizimani. He is Senior Partner at KPMG Zambia. Andrew Chipwende, he is Director General Zambia Development Agency. Rodwell Jarai, Group Executive International Business Connection. And from Lusaka, we will be joined by Cuthbert Malindi, his founder and chairman of PostNet. Gentlemen, let's begin here. I want to set the context because I had occasion to sit down with the Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Mr. Robert Sichinga, and he was very unhappy that us in the media are not giving Zambia the attention it deserves. And in one of my conversations, I actually want to quote what he said. He says, "I believe Zambia has paid an extremely high price for its stance in assisting its neighbors get their freedom. Now that the liberation wars are over, Zambia expects an economic dividend, not necessarily by monetary compensation, although that would be quite appropriate, but by allowing its economy to flourish in ways it could not have done under a different type of economic and or geopolitical regime." Let's begin with Andrew, because you sit at the heart of Zambia's attempt to attract investment into the country. From where you sit and from what you have seen in the past few years, are we close to realizing Zambia's investment potential?
Yes, I think we are getting there. Obviously, a lot of work still remains to be done. I think when we talk of Zambia as an investment destination, one probably has to look at the number of phases that we've undergone. The most recent, which was the entry or reverting back to multi-party democracy in 1991, which saw the country implement a number of significant macroeconomic reforms, including privatization of state-owned enterprises, a liberalization of the market, scrapping of exchange controls. And so it was a very difficult period that the country went through.
Yeah.
And we are now probably now in the having seen a peaceful transition last year, after 20 years of one party in power.
Yes.
We've now seen a new party coming into government with which has now placed more focus on job and wealth creation.
Yeah.
and has obviously reoriented slightly the policies that are being implemented towards achieving the goal of job and wealth creation.
Yeah.
There's also recognition that this can only be achieved through increased investment, improved infrastructure, and developing human capital through skills and entrepreneurship development.
How much more remains to be done in your view?
I think on the macroeconomic front, I think most of the significant milestones have been achieved. What remains to be done in our view as Zambia Development Agency is probably more at the micro level in terms of the structural reforms.
Yeah.
At the institutional level in terms of reducing red tape, improving the speed and efficiency of government institutions, reducing the approval requirements from government institutions, and increasingly leaving more the decisions to invest to the private sector. I think that's why we still have to do a lot more work.
Yeah.
We also have to do a lot more work also in improving the doing business indicators, because ultimately every country around Africa has been implementing similar reforms at a macro level. Where countries are competing now is at a doing business level. How are we responding to the challenges that the private sector faces in terms of addressing the challenges that affect the cost of doing business?
Yeah.
This is why we have to do a lot more work.
Yeah. Jason, if I listen carefully to what Andrew is saying, he is saying, in essence, the hardest part of making Zambia an attractive investment destination has been done. Do you agree?
Absolutely, I agree. Zambia is commonly referred to as a landlocked country. I prefer to think of it as a land-linked country, because Zambia does have the potential, yes, to actually be the hub of Southern Africa. I mean, look at where the country is placed. It's right in the middle with 8 neighbors surrounding it. A lot has been done. There are the likes of, which Andrew Dian mentioned, things like the facility economic zones, which have been established. There's one that's been established right in the Copper Belt. Another one is under construction in Lusaka. And these will actually help remove most of the costs and headaches that businesses face when playing on the Zambian market. We're talking about things like basic infrastructure, road network, power supply, water supply, electricity, communication. Once all these are on the ground, then it will really lead to a great boom on the Zambian market. Yeah.
Rodwell, I want to know if you have got any specifics, something that you're completely unhappy with, that you think actually ought to be addressed before companies like Business Connection start looking north into countries like Zambia.
Thank you. So
if you just want to go in, you can tell me, I just want to go in. There's nothing to stop me here from going.
So from our side, we've actually been in Zambia since 2001.
Right.
So over 10 years we've been in Zambia, and it's a market which is a growth market for us. I think we have seen the ups and downs of the economy. There were times when obviously the copper prices was not right. We kind of felt a bit challenged, but we stuck on, and we are in the country, and we are seeing good economic fundamentals, and that's why we are seeing growth of 7% from a GDP perspective. There's a number of things which we are obviously seeing in as far as the sales cycles in government, because we play in public sector, private sector, providing IT services and support. It could be better. At times we just get a bit frustrated when decision processes take long. But all in all, we are comfortable with the market, and we are comfortable. We feel welcome in Zambia.
If I could say to you, you have got the ear of Minister Robert Sichinga, and he's listening to you right now. What would you say to him that you want addressed as a business that is looking to expand its presence in Zambia?
So as an IT business, I think one of the key fundamentals is the infrastructure, IT infrastructure. So when you go into a country, you expect things like bandwidth, internet connectivity, accessibility, because we're in a business of providing data center services.
So it's an opportunity for you, really, the areas that you're looking at.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I want us to go to Lusaka to speak to Cuthbert Malindi. He's the founder and chairman of Postnet. And Cuthbert, the question I want to put to you is, as a person on the ground, I mean, the story I'm hearing here is all positive. And I did say in my intro that Zambia's headlines these days are largely positive. Is there something negative that you wish to share with us? Don't be afraid, it's fine.
Now, obviously, I'm coming at this from more of the private equity perspective, because that's really my area. I try and stay away from politics. Look, I think a number of initiatives that the government has put in place, not just this government, but successful governments, the intent and the objective from everybody concerned has been, if you like, well intended.
Yeah.
But my view is really the implementation and what message you send, especially to the investor community.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, from an investor standpoint, I mean, the decision to invest is based on the analysis or the perception of risk in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
So no investor likes uncertainty. So some of the pronouncements from government policies like the minimum wage and the recent de-dollarization of the country.
Yeah.
Yes, fundamentally nobody disagrees with that. I think we can understand the objectives.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the timing as well as how you convey that message.
Yeah, but Cuthbert, I wanted to praise you. I wanted to praise you on the implementation. What exactly are you saying about the implementation? Are you saying the bottleneck lies with the Zimbabwe Development Agency because he's right here to answer for himself, or are you saying it's the government bureaucracy where the problems are?
Maybe let me give you a specific example, again coming from a private equity venture capital perspective. I was involved in advising government on the establishment of a venture capital fund back in 2007. Mm-hmm. I was very surprised to find that the act to set up a government-backed venture capital was actually passed in 1996. So that was well before even Botswana, countries like Botswana. Mm. And yet, in Botswana, I think they came up with the act in 2003, and within a short period, they implemented. So to this day, that 1996 act to set up a venture capital fund hasn't been done. So what I'm saying is that when you look at the policies, if you go to some of the government official shelves, there are a lot of these policies that are well-meaning, but I really don't know where the bottleneck has been in to make sure that they're implemented as intended.
Okay. Let's get Andrew's view here. Are you the holdup, or is it just normal government bureaucracy? You've got a minute.
The ZDA was set up in 2007. I don't think it can be the holdup. Oh, the government bureaucracy is there, but I think it's a question of prioritizing what is urgent, what are the key barriers that hold back entrepreneurship growth in Zambia. And probably this is what government is trying to address. Yeah. Probably the number one factor is infrastructure, as Jason has said. And infrastructure relates to roads, ports, and rail, as well as energy. And above that, human capital development, I think, is key. Financing is one of the challenges. A venture capital fund would address that, but probably that is far from that would be far from addressing the other challenges that businesses face in Zambia.
Yeah, gentlemen, we're going to continue. And one question I want to put to you after the break, Andrew, is whether you're satisfied with the levels of investment that have come through into Zambia. And that's going to take place when we come back from the break. And there will be more on Invest Africa.